With less than 2 months until the UCAT approaches, this is my framework for making the practice that you do as efficient as possible and helping you get to the target score quickly and to exceed the expectations of a 2,400 cutoff score. So this will be how to achieve more with less time in 5 simple steps, and hopefully to do so in a cost-effective and somewhat enjoyable way. So let's start with this 5-step framework. Number one, no matter where you are, now should be the time where you're doing full mock exams. So sit an exam now, calculate your percentile. Ideally, you're using Metafile mid-entry, and that will give you a percentile. Otherwise, you can put your scores into a raw conversion calculator. Just search up UCAT score calculator online, type in your scores, and that will give you exactly where you are currently. For most people, that will be something between 1,800 and 2,200. Now, that's sort of the danger zone because we need to get, for non-rural applicants, the metro students, to 2,400 and above. So you'll know roughly what your score is now and what percentile you're at. That's what you need to know for everyone as a framework. So if you haven't done any full exams, do one this week. Number two is the 3P framework. You need to be practicing, for most people, 1 to 2 hours a day, maybe more on the weekends or holidays, especially if you're not at that top percentile yet. Number two is using the right platform. So for most people, that's Metafile or mid-entry. If you're not using one of those two and your scores are struggling, you might consider getting one because they, in my experience, are the ones that most students use to get into medicine. And number three is getting professional help. Just bear in mind, these are percentiles, so you're comparing against other people. So if you don't have a tutor and other people are getting tutoring, that's one thing that can put you back and just give other people an advantage. So if you are trying to make your study time as efficient as possible, you want to make sure that everything is optimized. And that includes practicing more than others, using the right platform, and getting some proper help. Next is, with regard to tutoring, how you can make an actual efficient plan. Because sometimes people will say, oh, I'm going to tutoring, but it's not helpful. That is the biggest trap. So my suggestion is to start with one workshop in each section. You can get the 80-20, the best strategies that will make a decent amount of impact from one session. And for most of the time, that's 1 to 1.5 hours. You just need to go to one workshop, and then you'll have enough things that you can work on. I'd say try that. Try one session in each section. If you're not improving, then there's a problem. If you can take away new strategies to implement from those sessions and your scores then improve over the next 1 to 2 weeks, that's great. You don't need any further tutoring. Or you might say, wait, that was helpful. What else can you offer me? But it's an issue when you're getting tutoring or you've done a workshop and then it's been 2 weeks and then there's no change. Then that means whatever that workshop wasn't effective. That might be an issue with the quality of the teaching. That might be an issue with the application. Regardless, you can't keep expecting to do the same thing. So I'd keep it a short time frame of 2 weeks. And I'd say if you're improving on your own or if you're improving with the workshop, you don't need to add anything else. It's when you plateau or when your scores aren't changing for those 2 weeks, that's when you want to change something. That being said, if you tried something new, you tried a new workshop and your scores go up, then you might want to ask, let's keep going with that and see how far that can take me. But my main suggestion to lots of people here is when people engage in lock-in tutoring contracts that keep them there for 6 or so months, and their scores don't improve after 2 to 3 weeks, then you're trapped. So try and avoid that where possible and just have an open mind and saying, okay, it's been 2 or 3 weeks, my scores are not improving, I need to change something from here. That's the hardest step of the 5. Step 4, focus on your timing first before your accuracy. Finishing the test will get you an increase in marks quicker than trying to read faster or work out how to improve your mathematical skills in a short time frame. So I would always focus on finishing the questions, getting everything done without random guesses, particularly without guessing questions at the end of the subtest, before you then worry about accuracy. Get to the right timing speed, get used to what the tempo is like, and then you can work on your accuracy from there. And in my view, if you start by getting all the questions done and then all the easy questions correct without silly mistakes, that's probably 80% of the way to the journey. Now, whatever your target score is, try and make 80% of the progress by the halfway mark. So if you have 2 months and you're currently at 2,200 and you want to be at 2,400, it's the natural thing would be to say, okay, I'm going to go 100 per month. But the earlier improvements should come faster. So I would say if you're aiming for a score increase of 200, try and get 150, 160 of that done in the first month and really push yourself to make that because hopefully that will make the next 40% to 20% a lot more attainable. And it's always natural to do have a bit of fluctuation as well. Sometimes it feels like you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Finally, be realistic with your options. If you're at 1,800, you've been practicing for 6 months, 2 hours a day. Realistically, in one extra month, can you jump to 2,400? So there's 3 approaches that people can take. Number one is to focus on their ATAR and then still have a little bit of UCAT practice, but nothing that sort of tanks the ATAR prep. Number two, if you're still close, if you're at that 2,200 mark, then you can sniff the cutoff score. So you might then dive into the UCAT prep and try and do everything you can to get to that cutoff score. Finally, rather than sort of dialing back the UCAT, some people like, even if they're at 1,800, they'll say, I still want to do well in my UCAT. I still want to put in the work because then at least at the end of this, I'll know I tried my best and this is what score I got. So then I can close that chapter for the future. Or if I decide to sit the UCAT again, then I'll already have this experience and this head start. So it's important you have a chat with some different people before you make that decision. But for most people, my advice would be sit an exam now, work out your percentile, make sure you're practicing 1 to 2 hours a day on Metafile and entry, and make sure you're getting some sort of coaching. And the third step is the tricky bit in the sense of making that coaching effective. Your score should be improving over every 2 weeks at some sort of trackable metric. Now, if you want to talk about this further or you want the next steps of this, all you need to do is click the link in the description. There's some free resources, some free PDFs, and 1 workshop for every section. So I'll be running some live workshops in decision making, in quantitative reasoning, and there's workshops in verbal reasoning as well. Start with 1 workshop in each section, and if you're improving, that's great. If you're not improving, there's always different resources and solutions that you can then add on to that. So click the link in the description and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.